Hello everyone, I am Dr. Durdana Oways from Department of Commerce, the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. Today's agenda for this video lecture is public finance. Let's understand this concept. In front of you is the Union Budget of 21-22, and you can see that on one hand side the picture depicts the revenue that is received by the government. It is represented by the rupee. It is just representational to show from where the maximum number comes. And you can see the government receives revenue from corporate tax, income tax, customs, union, GST, non-tax revenue, non-debt capital receipts, and also borrowings and other liabilities. These are the sources of income that the government receives. How it receives? From these sources. Okay? And the government spends the money so received to various schemes and different sectors, like it spends on centrally sponsored scheme like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. It also spends on central sector schemes like Namami Gange, BharatNet. Government also have to repay the interest of the borrowings and loans taken. Government has to spend on defense for army, navy. For subsidies also, the government have to make an expenditure. These subsidies can be on food, fertilizer, export, and even interest. Okay? And the government also has to give money to Finance Commission, which grants funds to various state governments. Okay? And other transfers. States' shares of taxes and duties are also there, and pensions are also there. Then other expenditures. From where does the government does all these expenditure, or where does it fulfills our expectations? Okay, from the revenue so received. Now, how does the government receive this money and where does it spend? That is studied by a branch of economics that is called as public economics or public finance. Now, there is difference between the term finance and economics. When we talk about economics, economics just deals with the allocation of resources which have got alternative uses. But finance not only concerns with the allocations of resources, but under what conditions, under what terms. So it is a study of how and under what terms the savings or money is allocated. Okay. Then economics studies 3 units of the nations, like individuals or household, firms, and the government. Finance can also be categorized into 3 types. First is private finance, then corporate finance, and thirdly public finance. Now, private finance is the study of the financial decisions taken by the individual or household. Okay. Then corporate finance, these are the financial decisions that are taken by the firms. And public finance deals with the study of financial decisions taken by the government. Okay. That is, when we talk about private finance, the financial decisions regarding how the income will be received, how budget will be made, how savings will be done, then how the resources will be spent. These are taken up by the individual or household. That is their financial decisions. Then corporate finance deals with the financial decisions to enhance the owner or the shareholder value. And public finance deals with country's resources, how they are being utilized, whether they are being utilized judiciously. Now, these resources, who uses these resources? Who uses these resources? These resources are used by the government. Okay, so public finance deals with how the country's resources are used judiciously by the government. Okay, So when we study about public finance, we are just focusing our attention on this part. We are not concerned with the other two. Okay, and the resources that are used by the government, okay, is called as public finance. It is the study of financial operations of the government. When we call or talk about government, this government includes the central government, the state government and the local government. All types and levels are included here. What are the financial operations? Financial operations can include the revenue or income that is received, the expenditure that is to be made, and also the financial administration. Okay, so these are the financial operations, and the study of the financial operations of the government is called as the study, or that branch of economics that studies the financial operations of the government is called as public finance. Okay, so it is that branch of economics that studies the economic activities of the government. What is included in economic activities? Economic activities of the government includes the maintaining of the level of competition in the economy, redistribution of income in the economy, to ensure proper growth and development in the economy, how the taxes are collected, even the providing of public goods and services, that comes under the economic activities of the government. Then how the externalities that are affecting the economy, that are controlled, that is included in economic activities, and how the government maintains economic stability. These are all included in economic activities of the government. Okay, now because this branch of economics studies the financial operations of the government, it is also called as fiscal economics. Fiscal economics. Okay, it is also called as public sector economics. See, the money, the revenue or the income is received by the government. From where it is received? From the public, the people residing in the country. And where it is spent? It is spent on the country and its people. That is why it is also called as public sector economics. Because who is spending that? Because government is spending that money on the economy, and that is why it is also sometimes called as public economics. Here the main receiver of the benefit as well as the contributor to the revenue are the public, and all the stakeholders are affected by these financial operations of the government. These stakeholders can be or cannot be sometimes the citizens of the country. That is, all the people residing in the country will be affected by these decisions of the government. Now, let's see how economics have defined public finance. I am here taking two definitions. First is by Dalton. Okay. Dalton puts it that public finance is concerned with the income and expenditure of public authorities and with the adjustment of the one to the another. Here, what I am doing is I am marking keywords. Okay, we will be using these keywords to understand the term and draw functions, scopes and importance from these keywords. Okay, so here income, expenditure, then there is public authorities and adjustment of one to another. Income and expenditure of public authorities. Public authorities include government, government organizations and quasi-government organizations. Okay, and with the adjustment of one to another. Why is this adjustment required? Because the adjustment that is being made is concerning the country's resources, the country's scarce resources. Okay, that is why there is adjustment that is required, and we have to remember these resources have got alternative uses also. Okay. The second definition is by Professor Otto Axton. He writes that public finance is the study of effect of budget on the economy, particularly the effect on achievement of major economic objective of growth, stability, equity and efficiency. Okay, that is public finance is the study of effect. All the decisions that the government take of where it is going to receive the income and how it is going to spend this money, all the decisions that are taken by the public authorities does have an effect. Effect on whom? Effect on the individual also and the economy as a whole also, right? That is, all the financial decisions that are taken by the government affect the microeconomic behavior also as well as macroeconomic aggregates also. Okay. How does it affect the whole economy? Because it affects the growth, the stability, the equity and efficiency of the economy. Okay. What is the major instrument here? The budget. Budget is used as the major economic instrument that the government showcases how it is going to or how it is planning to receive income, how it is planning to spend the income so received. Okay. So I have marked the keywords here. You all can use these keywords. Now, based on these keywords, let us draw one definition. Okay, that is, in short, public finance is concerned with government. Okay, government and its activities. What type of activities? How the government receives income and where it spends this income, revenue or money so received. Why it studies this branch of economic studies income? Because it's concerned with the country's resources. Okay, it is also concerned with the study of the expenditure, how it is made, whether the government is utilizing this efficiently or not. Okay, and also the adjustment of one to another. Okay, in the first slide we have seen there were borrowings and other liabilities. That means when expenditure exceeds income, borrowings have to be undertaken. Okay, now why this adjustments is required, or what is the idea behind or how the country's income will be raised, how expenditure will be raised, how adjustment will be made. The underlying principle for this subject is maximum social advantage. Okay, maximum social advantage. When will maximum social advantage happen? When there is growth, when there is stability, when there is equity and when there is efficiency. So in short, this is a snapshot of all the introduction and the two definition. These are the keywords you can use to frame your own definition. Okay. Now let's move ahead. From these keywords, we are going to draw the functions of public finance. Okay. So the first function of public finance is, when we are talking about the use of country's resources, scarce resources, the first important function of public finance is improving economic efficiency. This economic efficiency is affected by government's expenditure also and how the government is receiving income through taxes. Okay. Then the second function of public finance is to ensure that distribution of income is less unequal. Okay. So there is income redistribution. Third function of public finance is preparing the financial policies which affects not only the individual or household, it also affects the firms and the economy as a whole. After making the policy, another function is also to monitor the functioning and effectiveness of this financial policy. That also is one of the important functions of public finance. Then next function is the stabilizing function of public finance. How the economy is managed through the macroeconomic policies, like how the inflation is controlled, how the growth is being managed. Okay. Then next function is ensuring economic and social justice in the economy. And last function is to compare the actual performance with the planned performance. Okay. So these are the basic functions of public finance. From these functions, you might have been able to understand that all these are, when we are discussing all these functions, they are either talking about how the government is receiving income, how the government is spending money, or how it is managing or planning to manage, and how it is borrowing. If the income is less and expenditure is more, how does it plans to receive money or borrow money? So we can categorize the scope of public finance into 4 main heads. That is public revenue. Public finance deals with or is concerned with how revenue is received from various sources, how the government plans to raise the revenue. Secondly, public expenditure. How the government spends or plans to spend this money on various sectors of the economy. Then public debt, when income is less or when expenditure exceeds income. In that circumstances, how the government takes decisions to raise loans and borrowings from either from internal sources or external sources, that comes under the purview of public debt. And last is financial administration. Financial administration is all the activities that aim at providing the funds at the right time and ensuring their availability to the government. Okay, so that was the scope of public finance. Now, what I have done here is I have taken the functions of public finance that we have studied in the previous slide, and based on this only, we will be studying the importance. First, when we had talked about improving economic efficiency, how does the government improve the economic efficiency? When the function of public finance is to improve economic efficiency, it helps the government to ensure economic growth. And how is economic growth ensured? Through proper infrastructural development. Okay. Then the next function was to ensure the distribution of income is less unequal. As such, public finance helps in equitable distribution of income in the economy. If there is unequal distribution of income in the economy, how does the government steps in? The government steps in through the provision of public goods and services, and public finance helps in that. Okay. Next is when the function of public finance is preparing financial policies, then public finance helps in proper allocation of the country's resources. So this is next importance of the public finance. So what we are doing here is we are taking the functions, and from these functions only we are drawing the importance. So we do not have to remember many points. Okay. Then next function was to monitor the functioning and effectiveness of financial policies. If the function of public finance is monitoring the effectiveness of financial policy, it leads to or it helps in balanced development of the economy. Next is the stabilizing function of public finance. Okay. When public finance helps in stabilizing the economy through macroeconomic policies, it helps in ensuring price stability as well as economic stability. Okay. Then next function was ensuring economic and social justice. We are going to take that point as it is. Okay. So the importance of public finance is it ensures social and economic justice in the country. And last is, the function was to compare the actual position with the budgets, with the planned one. So, the importance of public finance is it helps in economic planning. So, what points we have discussed in the earlier slide, these are here. Okay. What I have done is I have just taken these points and linked it with the functions of public finance. So, it's time for summarizing what we have learned today. We have learned about finance, that is, we have learned about public finance. Its introduction, finance is of three types: public finance, private finance, and corporate finance. We had concerned ourselves only with public finance, and in public finance we have studied the definitions, we have studied the scope, we have studied the functions, and lastly we have studied the importance. So that was all from my side. Keep learning, keep growing.